Have you ever wondered what it takes to transform a loving wife into a killer? What darkness must consume a person's soul before they cross that irreversible line? This is the story of Elize Matsunaga, a woman whose fairy tale turned into a nightmare so horrifying it ended with blood on her hands and a secret too gruesome to imagine. In the gleaming towers of São Paulo, Brazil, where wealth and privilege create their own reality, Elize Araújo seemed to have everything. She was beautiful, intelligent, and ambitious. A nurse who had clawed her way up from poverty, she understood the value of opportunity. When she met Marcos Matsunaga, heir to a food packaging empire worth millions, it must have felt like destiny. He was handsome, successful, and from one of Brazil's most prominent families. Their wedding was the kind that fills society pages, all champagne and promises of forever. But behind the marble walls of their luxury apartment, something else was growing. Something dark and twisted that fed on secrets and shame. Marcos had a problem. An addiction that most people whisper about behind closed doors. He couldn't stay faithful. His need for other women was insatiable, a hunger that no amount of wealth or a beautiful wife could satisfy. But it wasn't just affairs. Marcos frequented prostitutes, spent thousands on escorts, and brought home diseases that he passed to his unsuspecting wife. Imagine discovering that the man who promised to love and protect you was systematically destroying you, exposing you to danger with every betrayal. Elize tried to hold her family together. They had a daughter, an innocent child who became the anchor keeping her mother tethered to an increasingly unbearable reality. She confronted Marcos. She pleaded. She demanded he stop. But men like Marcos don't change easily. Power and privilege had taught him that he could have whatever he wanted, whenever he wanted it. His wife's pain was just an inconvenience, background noise to his desires. The abuse wasn't always physical, though there were moments when his hands found her throat, when his anger manifested in bruises hidden beneath expensive clothes. The psychological torture was worse. The gaslighting, the manipulation, the way he made her feel crazy for being upset about his betrayals. He would deny, deflect, and then disappear into the night to repeat the cycle. May 19th, 2012. Remember that date. It's when everything changed. They were at their apartment, just another evening that started like countless others. But this time, something inside Elize finally snapped. Years of humiliation, betrayal, and abuse had built up like pressure in a sealed container. During an argument, when Marcos once again dismissed her pain, minimized her suffering, she reached for a gun. The sound of a gunshot in a luxury apartment is different than you might imagine. The walls are thick, designed to keep out the noise of the city below. No one heard when she pulled the trigger. No one heard when Marcos Matsunaga, heir to millions, fell to the floor of his own home. But what happened next is where this story descends into true horror. Elize didn't call the police. She didn't call for help. Instead, she looked at the body of her husband, the father of her child, and made a decision that would shock a nation. She decided to make him disappear. For days, she kept his body in their apartment. Their daughter was away, thank God, spared from witnessing what her mother was about to do. Elize went to a hardware store. She bought a saw, plastic bags, and cleaning supplies. The clerk who sold her these items had no idea they would be used to dismember a human being. In the sterile bathroom of their luxury home, surrounded by Italian marble and gold fixtures, Elize cut her husband into pieces. Can you imagine the sound, the smell, the hours it must have taken, fighting against every human instinct to reduce a person to parts that could fit into a suitcase? She cleaned meticulously. Blood has a way of getting everywhere, seeping into grout, staining surfaces that seem impervious. But Elize was a nurse. She understood anatomy. She understood how to clean. When she was done, the bathroom looked pristine, as if nothing had happened there at all. Then she loaded the pieces of Marcos into suitcases and drove into the night. She scattered his remains in different locations around São Paulo, hoping the city would swallow her secret. She reported him missing, played the concerned wife, gave interviews pleading for information about her beloved husband's whereabouts. But secrets like that don't stay buried. A torso was found on the side of a road, then more remains. The police began to investigate, and the story Elize had constructed started to crumble. Under questioning, she finally confessed. The words must have felt like poison leaving her mouth, admitting to what she had done in those dark hours alone with her husband's body. The trial became a sensation in Brazil. People were divided. Some saw a cold-blooded murderer who deserved the harshest punishment. Others saw a woman pushed beyond her breaking point, a victim of years of abuse who finally fought back in the most extreme way possible. The courtroom became a battleground for debates about domestic violence, about what drives someone to kill, about whether there's ever justification for taking a life. Elize was convicted and sentenced to nearly 20 years in prison. She admitted everything, showed remorse, but the question that haunted everyone remained unanswered. At what exact moment did the loving wife die and the killer emerge? Was it the first time he hit her? The 10th time he betrayed her? Or was it a gradual transformation, her humanity eroding bit by bit until nothing remained but rage and desperation? From her cell, Elize gave interviews. She spoke about the abuse, about feeling trapped, about the moment the gun was in her hand, and all the pain and humiliation crystallized into a single terrible action. She cried for her daughter, for the childhood she had stolen from her, for the fact that her child would grow up knowing her mother as a killer. But here's what keeps people awake at night about this case. Elize Matsunaga wasn't a monster. She was an ordinary woman who worked hard, loved her child, and tried to build a life. The horror isn't that she was evil. The horror is that she was human. That any of us, pushed far enough, trapped in the right circumstances, might discover we're capable of unthinkable things. How many people are living behind closed doors right now, in beautiful homes with dark secrets? How many are one moment away from a decision that will change everything? The line between victim and perpetrator can be razor thin, and once you cross it, there's no going back. Elize is still in prison, still living with what she did. And somewhere in São Paulo, in an apartment that's been cleaned and resold, where a new family probably lives now, you have to wonder, do they ever feel something? A cold spot in the bathroom? A heaviness in the air? Do they know that in that very space, love died and horror was born? The scariest stories aren't about ghosts or demons. They're about real people and the monsters they become when pushed beyond their limits. They're about the darkness that exists in all of us, waiting for the right circumstances to emerge. Because the truth is, we never really know what we're capable of until we're tested. And by then, it's already too late.